Coach, as you enter this final week of preseason games, what's the expectation for your group in terms of maybe that next step or that next level you're looking to see as we get closer to regular season?
Yeah, I mean, you look at our roster that we're addressing today, I think we want to get to the point where we're starting to see the pace or the tempo that the team has to play with. You want to see the habits that you expect them to play with. So you fully understand that this is the time of year where players are getting their game going, but now's the time to get it going. So they're all basically in there for a reason. This is our last home exhibition game, and then we have two more on the road from there. So you want to feel good about when you hit the ice on October 11th, and this is a big part of it.
Huska, how would you, I think you've talked about it in the past, but what is your identity that you're hoping to get, and are you seeing your group sort of playing to it yet?
Yeah, yes and no. I guess if you look at the game in Winnipeg, and there was a lot of young guys in that game for us, and it was very evident how hard the young guys worked. That's what we need out of everybody. So they were skating and they were pressuring and they were forcing people into mistakes. So I guess having a mindset that you should never give up on a puck, you should never stop your feet from moving. You have to have the mindset that we're gonna make it difficult on teams, so they will have no room on the ice. And a lot of that we saw in Winnipeg. Didn't see much of it against Edmonton, so we want to see a lot more of that here tonight.
Are you a fast team by your identity?
I think we're a fast team with the way we can play the game, with the way our guys think it. So we may not have burners. If you classify like Dylan Dubé as a guy that can burn, like he can really skate. We may not have a ton of guys that are in Dylan's category, but a lot of playing fast is mindset. So the game against Edmonton, our D-men were slow in regards to not their feet necessarily, but how they move the puck. So when you see our team in particular going D to D all the time, they're slow. And that's something that we have to try to get them to understand, and a lot of that is mindset.
We were just talking to Mackenzie Weegar, and he said that all six defensemen have a green light to jump in the rush. I mean, I guess, is that true? And I mean, is there any differentiation between who you want jumping in the rush and who you don't?
As long as there's purpose to it, like you don't just jump for no reason. Like if there's a confrontation on the half wall and you have a defenseman that's outside the blue line already, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So those situations are a no-go, but they all have green light in regards to making the proper reads and getting themselves involved and active for sure. And we feel like one of the strengths of our team is our back end and their ability to skate and their ability to move the puck and their ability to see the game. So we want to give them that, but they have to understand situations too.
Like Chris Tanev, I mean, you referred to him as one of the best defensive defensemen in the league, but you're totally comfortable with him, obviously, jumping in, getting involved up there.
He might be one of our best. Like if you really were to watch the guys in the back end when they pick and choose the times to go, Chris typically goes at the right time all the time. And that goes to the way he thinks and sees the game. Sometimes you have to ratchet other guys back a little bit because they get so eager to get themselves up that they make the wrong decision to go and they expose or open ourselves up in front of our net, something like that. Chris isn't one of those guys. Chris understands that it's almost defend first, and then when I have the opportunity to go, I'll go. Yeah.
When it's done well, how important is that second wave of offense, that trailing guy, or could be, I guess, in this case, the defenseman?
Yeah. Or two, if the defenseman is up that far. It is very important now because of the way teams play. I mean, everybody tracks really hard. Remember how they used to get in the zone and delay and always hit late, man? You don't see a lot of that anymore because all teams are being taught and worked with on coming back as hard as they can. So the gap from behind is as important as the gap that you expect your D-man to hold. So you really want to squeeze teams. So you have to find a way to drive defensemen back, and then you have to create a second wave once that gap has been created, and the D-men fill a big part of that.
Yeah. Are you seeing the right things from Ruzicka so far in camp?
Getting there. Like there's still inconsistencies, and I think for Rosie, like you can see some moments with the plays that he can make on a power play coming downhill when he's protecting a puck down low. Like he is a big man, and we're all salivating for big men that have skills. So we're really driving Rosie to be consistent and take a lot of pride in being consistent. So you know the mantra for Rosie could be like consistency is cool. We want him to really take pride in that because he's got a skill set that not a lot of guys don't have, and when you couple that with the size that he has, the package is really nice. So we really want to see him push himself and try to find another level.
Can you just follow that up and explain what consistency for Adam needs to look like?
Yeah. You know, when I mentioned the guys in Winnipeg, how hard they were trying to get up the ice, how hard they were coming back, creating turnovers, that's what it needs to be for him. So he needs to move his feet hard all the time. And then once he gets pucks, he needs to hold on to them and make good plays with them. People talk about firm. Firm means different things for different guys. Some guys are physical and they're going to hit you hard. Some guys are tougher guys. Some guys like Adam have to be firm in regards to you're not taking the puck from him. That's when he's at his best, when he holds on to it and protects it and finds open men, or goes to the net himself where he's willing to throw a defenseman on his back.
For Dryden Hunt.
Yeah. Dryden's been really good in the games that he's played so far. So, he's getting an opportunity right now because he deserves it, the way he's played. Like, I think he understands the role that we're asking him to play. He is one of the, not necessarily younger guys with his age per se, but he is an energy guy for us. And each night he's played in, he's been noticeable on the ice, playing the right way, and he's been able to chip in with some offense. So he's been good, and we need him to continue to push.
He kind of has talked about the idea that he wants to go out there and be a player that, I think, paraphrasing, that you can trust. Do you trust him out there? He's been here before.
Yeah, and he's played. He's played in a lot of games in the NHL too before, so he understands you don't have to make a play all the time. You have to make the right play that puts your team in a good position. So he's done a good job of that so far.
Fans over here, and I think they're used to seeing sort of a blue-collar, dump-and-chase workman-like team. Do you get a sense that the identity is shifting to that more speed-based game? Like, how do you view those two sort of contrasts?
I don't know. I think there's smart hockey is sometimes you do put the puck in, sometimes you carry it in. I mean, that's really the decisions that we have to get our guys to understand. The last game against Edmonton, we had 24 turnovers at the blue lines. That's not winning hockey. And if they would have had their 7 forwards in the lineup, we would have lost that game in a big, big way. So getting them to understand the difference between trying to play through someone or making the right play and putting the puck behind them and being willing to go and get it, that's a big thing for our group to understand.
And there's been so much kind of hubbub in this city about Matt Coronado, and then he goes and gets a hat trick and it ratchets up a little more. I'm just curious, how have you seen him sort of handle the spotlight and the attention and everything that comes with being, one of the top prospects and the exciting guys in an organization?
Yeah, I feel he was wound up tight in Penticton, but now, like we saw out of him last year, he's kind of a cool cucumber. Like, we call him Dylan's twin brother, Dylan Dubé. They look the same, and he just giggles when he walks around with them. And I think he's enjoying it. I think he's really enjoying himself right now. He's trying to play the right way every shift. So you talk about young guys when they're in the lineup, they will go as hard as they possibly can because they want to stay here. We want our whole team to have that type of mentality, that they're all need to play like a young guy does, and Matt's a great example of that. He's working. So in the games that he hasn't generated, he's still been effective with the way he's worked.
What does Cole Schwint have to do to be an everyday or an NHLer?
Yeah, consistency. He's got to be good on his faceoffs is one big thing. We like the body and the size that he has, and he has to be, as mentioned earlier, someone that's trustworthy on the ice in certain situations. So another guy with some of the injuries that unfortunately we've had, the doors opened a little bit further for him, so now it's up to him. Yeah.
Would you consider putting consistency is cool on T-shirts or anything?
Maybe.